Folks, this episode of Foreplay is brought to you by our friends at Dollar Shave Club. There's no reason to use a cheap piece of shit disposable razor or pay a ridiculously high price for some gimmicky thing that's got a laser pointer with 17 blades. Make the smarter choice just like I did and join Dollar Shave Club. Before Dollar Shave Club, it was either save money, get a painful-ass shave from some disposable, like the ones they give away for free at the gym, which basically felt like, shaving with a piece of glass, or you pay a fortune for the latest gimmicky piece of shit shave breakthrough I don't need, like a laser chin detector or 17 more blades. Dollar Shave Club is the best of both worlds. A premium shave at a disposable price. I've switched. I go clean shaven. I love it. Dollar Shave Club is what gets me there. So get a close, smooth shave every single time. You cannot beat the convenience or the price of the club. If you haven't tried Dollar Shave Club yet, you're missing out. It's an amazing shave at an affordable price. There's no smarter choice on the entire market. And right now, they're giving away a 1-month trial of any of their razors for $1 with free shipping. And after that, it's just a few bucks a month. There's no long-term commitments, no hidden fees, and you cancel whenever you want. Get your $1 trial at dollarshaveclub.com/4, F-O-R-E. That's dollarshaveclub.com/4. Let's hit it. Okay, welcome back to Foreplay, Episode 7. It's Arnold Palmer Invitational Bay Hill Week. We're back in the office after a very rigorous work trip last week.
I miss Florida.
Miss Jacksonville.
Yep.
I miss Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida.
I mean, we were down there grinding, but the weather was perfect. We're about to get a huge fucking snowstorm when this comes out.
Yep, it's true. By the time this comes out, we will have, it sounds like, 1 million feet of snow on the ground, if you check the internet or TV or anything like that. But it's nice to be back. It's nice to be back in the office. Nice to not be getting yelled at for doing your job.
Yep. Although I also miss recording in a hotel. We had a good time. We're just lounging in our shirts, hanging out.
We were watching some celebrity awards show. I didn't know what it was. It was a great time.
Oh, yeah, the iHeartRadio Awards that you didn't know what they were.
Yep. We ordered, like you said, some pizza. We're not going to say who it was from until they pay us.
Yep. Good call.
On this week's show, I have 4 words that I'm trying not to say.
We've got a lot of more pushback from this than I would have imagined we would, so let's hear the words you can't say.
So the ones from last week, there's a new one. But the 3 from last week were the word fuck, the word like. What else did I?
Phenomenal.
And now there's two new ones.
Okay, what are they? Phenomenal. Yep.
And apparently whenever we talk to guests, I just say love it all the time.
Oh, I think it's I love that.
Or I love that. Some rendition of I love that or love it.
Fuck, them not wanting you to say fuck is not fair.
No, it's myself. I listen back and I say the word I don't care swearing, like whatever. Swearing's how I talk to human beings when I talk to human beings.
Yeah.
But it comes in like massive loads.
Okay.
That didn't sound great. It comes in droves where I won't say it, and then in a 90-second span, I'll drop F-bombs 8 times or something.
Okay. That's different. That's a lot different.
It sounds a little ridiculous.
And also, like is a scary one because I think everyone has that problem.
Mm-hmm.
And once you call that out, because you don't notice it maybe as much, but then when you say, oh man, I say like too much, then you can't not hear it.
I don't think anyone else has commented on my use of it, but I noticed, and you're right. Once I noticed it, it drives me insane.
Yep.
So those are my 4 words: fuck, like, phenomenal, and some form of love that or I love that. Trying not to say those things.
Which we already recorded the interview, so I don't remember if you did that or not.
I think I said it many times. Many people were saying I probably said it many times. So I think we're going to try to come up with some sort of plan where whenever I say the word of the week that I'm not supposed to say, I have to put $1 into a jar. Okay. At the end of the year, I'll throw a huge party for all the Foreplay listeners or something. Anyways, greenskeeping, we have green jackets. Mm-hmm. Someone won one last month. It's fantastic. Everybody really likes them. Everyone's very jealous of them. We like wearing them.
Anytime we post a picture, people are like, when are you putting them on sale? We're not. You got to leave a review, and we'll send you one.
Go leave a review. Say something that's funny. Leave a cool story. Tell a cool story. Something that catches our attention that we decide that you left the best review of the month, and you win a green jacket. Go do that. Trent, Valspar Championship down in Tampa. Innisbrook Copperhead course. Hadwin, first PGA Tour win. Canadian dude, what'd you think?
I thought it was good. If you are like a casual golf watcher, if somebody tuned in, they were probably like, who the fuck are these guys on the leaderboard? I don't really want to watch this. If you turned away, that was a huge mistake because Hadwin had a 4-shot lead going into the day, and it kind of looked like if you put it on cruise control, shot at par. It was a hard course. I mean, we're not talking in the teens in terms of under par like they thought it was going to be, but now once it got down to the end of the tournament, we had it neck and neck. Hadwin was up by 2 strokes until he got to the 16th hole, put it in the water, double bogeyed, and it was tied up between him and Patrick Cantlay going to the 18th, which was great.
Yeah, he Hadwin, he shot 59 a couple months ago.
Yeah,
at the Career Builder. So he's clearly a good player. It's crazy. It's another one of those young guys. I mean, if you can shoot a 59, you can win at a course like Copperhead. I was glad the course held up too because it, with Herman shooting 9 under day one, and there were a couple guys at 7, a bunch of guys at right in that range where it was like, oh shit, I don't want to see a 25 under.
Right.
Course held up over the weekend,
especially on Saturday. The greens firmed up later in the day, and putts and chips under the green were just rolling out. They could not get it to stay on.
That's what we want to see. We want tough. We want carnage. It was tough to find birdies. So I think 14 under won it.
Yeah, 14 under won it.
I predicted 12 under, so I was close. But yeah, it was a great ending after a pretty anticlimactic day for the most part. It was, it looked like Hadwin was going to run away with it. He was pretty much comfortable, and then hits one in the drink, and you're like, oh shit, we got a tourney.
That was the one where he could have done literally anything except put it in the drink, and he would have won the tournament straight away with no drama. Him putting it in the water on 16 was high drama, and I loved it.
We got to talk about Patrick Cantlay. What a story. This was just his second start in a year and a half.
Yeah, he's got kind of a crazy backstory with back, no pun intended. He hurt his back, so he was the number 1 amateur for I think it was 55 weeks in a row, which was a record. He's part of the 2011 class, Spieth, all those guys.
He's only 24, which
unbelievable.
Is insane.
And then he gets the back injury. Not only that, tragedy strikes. His friend gets hit by a car and killed.
His best friend and caddy.
Yeah, so. That's another setback. So it's good. It's another one of those stories where you didn't see it coming, but then you see the potential of a guy like this, the talent of a guy like this. If he can put it all together, keep it going, this is just another guy to add to the group of young guys.
Impossible not to root for him. He earned $680,000 to secure his card for the rest of the year. So he's got that monkey off his back. He doesn't have that weighing on him. I believe he was playing in a sponsor's exemption this week.
I forget what it was. He needed like $620,000 in the next 9 events or so to make that amount of money, and then he gets a solo second and just takes all that worry away.
He's one of these guys. Just watching him, he did have the tough bogey on 18, the 72nd hole that ultimately cost him the tournament. But man, he charged all weekend. Really, he had an incredible Saturday round, followed it up, making birdies, keeping himself in it, so that if Hadwin did stumble a little bit, which he did, Cantlay was right there. He's one of those guys. I think he's going to emerge from that group in a similar way that Justin Thomas has this year.
Yep.
With kind of those back-to-back wins in Hawaii. I think he's going to emerge and really be kind of a leader from that path.
He gained himself a fan in me this weekend because I didn't know all that much about him. And then there was the back 9 where I think he birdied 4 out of 5 holes and was really pulling up next to Hadwin. And he not only was he playing well, but he had this game face on where he was pissed and he wanted to win. Some people tweeted me they were a little turned off by that. I loved it. I want to see more of that fire. Hadwin is a smiling Canadian guy, but then there's Cantlay who was just coming up behind him, angry, doing the whole thing. I loved it.
Yeah, he had some gutsy moments that I liked. Like I said, obviously people can point, be like, oh, what are you talking about? He bogeyed 18. I think he had birdied 9 and 10, and then Hadwin made a putt outside of his for birdie on 11, and he stepped up and made 5 or 6 footer.
Mm-hmm.
So he had some gutsy moments. I like him a lot. Like I said, it was really, really difficult once you heard the story, if you weren't familiar with it, to not root for him this weekend. Good to see him in the mix. Good to see that he earned enough money. I like, too, that he was disappointed afterwards. He's like, I didn't get the job. That I didn't fucking win.
Yep.
I like that.
And we're going to be seeing a whole lot more of him now that he's got his card for, he earned a whole bunch of it. So
excited to watch him play.
Yes.
We also had a couple impressive performances. Tony Finau shot a 7 under 64 yesterday to get inside the top 5. Our boy Wesley Bryan with another top 10. He finished T7.
Wesley Bryan, if you want to buy stock in somebody in terms of who's on the up and up, it's Wesley Bryan, not just a trick shot guy anymore. He is playing about as well as anybody on tour right now.
Yeah, our anonymous DM source had him as the outsider. I think he was 40-1. So we had a good amount of our listeners, fans, had money on him. he made it interesting. Obviously, he didn't get the job done, but he was right in there. Duff Daddy with a T11.
Chubby Duff is back.
He was looking a little chubbier, a little more comfy out there on the course.
I've been waiting for this to come back around because you knew it was only a matter of time. When you lose all that weight, I get it. Like, you want to feel better about yourself, you this and that. But I was just waiting for Chubby Duff to come back around the sun, and there he is, and now I'm back on board with him again. He's playing well.
One of our favorites. One of our all-time favorites.
Oh, come on. Duff Daddy?
His waggle, his personality, everything about him, obviously.
Slapping butts after major championship wins. I mean, obviously, it was my favorite couple in golf.
One of the GOAT wags of all time.
Oh, unfortunately, it didn't end how we all wanted it to, but, these things happen.
You got to think he's pulling some tail somewhere that we'd be, envious of.
I believe he lives in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
I could be mistaken, but he was courtside at a Cavs game a couple months ago with a smoke.
Courtside at the Cavs for Duff.
Courtside at the Cavs. This was a while ago, but
I could see him having real sneaky game.
He's one of those guys where I feel like he just ignores chicks and they go crazy.
They love it.
Yes.
We'll have to try that.
It works for a guy who, major championship winner, has a lot of money, but I don't know if it'll work as well for us. But Duff, I agree, he probably has some game.
Yeah, I think so too. We also had our boy Jimmy Herman, who we had a very unique interview, something timing-wise that we had never done before. We're going to get to that later in the show. He ended up finishing T3.
Didn't fade, which I was impressed by.
Completely agree. Again, we'll have more on that later. Here's our interview. Great interview. So we'll get to that. We had a couple of feel-good stories, and by that I mean guys that we don't like. Bryson DeChambeau made the cut, was in the hunt. People were getting upset. People were nervous. Oh, my God, this guy is going to really make us kind of eat our hat. Shot 2 over-par rounds on the weekend to fade completely. Also, Ian Poulter made the cut. Shot 76 on Saturday.
Sucker.
Just a couple feel-good stories there for the fans.
Let me clear the air about Bryson DeChambeau quickly. I've said it from the beginning that I don't like him, but it has been a product of him getting a lot of coverage without playing well. If he starts playing well, I'm willing to hedge my bets on Bryson, but it's just when he has commercials playing all weekend when he hasn't made a cut in like 8 weeks, that's what drives me crazy. If he starts playing well, I'm willing to thaw on him a little bit. That's what I'll say.
And this weekend, between Friday and Saturday when he was in contention, was the worst example of that. He was headlining everywhere. Every golf Twitter account was tweeting, Bryson DeChambeau has figured it out. He's gotten over the hurdle. What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm so glad you brought this up. I didn't even know we were going to bring that up. It was true. Every golf Twitter account was like, oh, the scientist has figured out the formula.
It was like one of the top articles on Golf Channel. Like, this guy, he made one cut in like a year. Fuck off. He stinks.
And it's what squeaky rigs. And it's what I'm saying. It's the golf community is craving for Bryson DeChambeau to do well because there's so much of this stuff that they can grab onto that they find interesting about him, and it's my problem where he doesn't play well and they still grab onto those things. So even if they get a little taste of it, they're gonna go crazy with it, and that's exactly what they did.
That's exactly what they did. It was nice to see, to reinforce how much we hate the media attention that he's gotten. It was like, oh, I thought maybe I was over it for a second, and then they rehashed it. It was like, I'm not over it. This stinks. Get him out of here.
They made it worse because they played right into our hand. As soon as he
was everywhere.
Everywhere. He's everywhere. If he even plays a little bit well, they think he's the next big thing.
Thank God he faded. Had kind of a shitty weekend, so fuck him. Headlines. Part 3 contest. They've kind of dialed it back a little bit. They're trying to, trim up the field. I believe that it said that the contest will now be open only to current Masters field and past Masters champs. Used to be a little bit more kind of honorary invite type thing.
I'm okay with that.
I like it.
Me too.
It was becoming, I feel like, a little too much of a circus.
Yeah, like there is a little bit too much going on. All they're doing is firming it up a little bit. Some people might view it as the Masters being more exclusive than they need to be, and they are that way on certain things. But if you just want to tighten up the part 3 a little bit, then I'm okay with that.
And it feels weird for me to say that because usually we're all for circuses and shit. Circi.
I'm a little surprised that I feel this way about it.
Me too, but it's the Masters. This is the one thing. Tighten it up. Keep it how it is. I don't want it to be the whole thing be a fucking charade the day before the Masters. It's the Masters. I want it to be a little bit more serious, a little tighter field. You got to be in the field or you got to be a champ to get in. I love it.
And if we're in the trust tree, I don't think I even noticed this in the past. Like I didn't necessarily like that guy should not be there because he didn't win or wasn't a past champion or in the field. But now maybe I will notice this year it'll be a little tighter. It'll move along a little quicker. We'll see.
And don't get me wrong, we love the par 3 contest.
Huge fans.
We love that it's a little lighter and all that, but tightening it up, Masters. I don't hate it. Trent, we had a little course vandalism.
We did have a little course vandalism. Donald Trump's course, and the name of the course is escaping me. I just had it pulled up, but I let it go.
One of his million courses.
One of his million courses.
One of his fantastic, beautiful, incredible courses, of which there are many.
Yeah. An environmental group snuck onto the course in the middle of the night, not happy with some of Trump's recent policies, President Trump, and they etched into a fairway, "No more tigers, no more woods." It's a play on words.
It's a little kind of a pun there.
It's a play on words because no more tigers. That's an animal. No more woods. These are things environmentalists.
There's a guy, Tiger Woods.
Environmentalists worry about that, and then Tiger Woods is a golfer. So
environmentalists love tiger and trees, which is where wood comes from.
That's true. So
it makes sense.
It's a weird move. It's not going to do anything. This is the thing I hate about. I'm okay with like bringing eyeballs to a certain cause, but if this is all they're going to do is just like etch something into like 10 feet of a Trump course, that's not going to do anything.
Yeah, it's just one of those things you just kind of brush it off. You're not going to have a real effect. Oh, you zing Trump. He's a bazillionaire and the president of the United States.
Right.
I'm sure this is devastating him.
I blogged it today, and in the blog I was like, yeah, he's definitely saw this and changed all of his policies to the opposite of what they have been.
Right.
It's not going to work that way. Ballsy of them, this environmental group, they made a video of them doing it. Of them like, it was like
show their faces?
No.
Oh, pussies.
I mean, that would be a big mistake. But it was like, and it felt like high school a little bit, where they're like sneaking on your TPing somebody. They're just etching in.
Egging houses. Remember those days?
Oh.
Also, my brother and I think have I told this story before on here?
I don't think so.
We used to twist up ketchup packets and throw them at cars when they drive by. That's a good, innocent, kind of harmless little gesture there. It's fun.
A buddy, I didn't do this, but a buddy of mine said his dad used to do this with a buddy. They would stand on either side of a road with nothing in their hands, but they would act like they're pulling a rope up, and the cars would slowly slow up and then finally realize that they were being fucked with and just like speed away.
Wow.
You just do it every time. You slowly pull up an invisible rope and the car stops. I love that story.
There's a lot of good ones. So, yeah, don't vandalize golf courses. Just go fuck with cars that drive around.
Yeah, and don't vandalize golf courses for a cause. If you want to like make a difference, I don't know what the proper channels are, but this ain't it.
Yeah. That's political Trent. Giving a little advice.
That was me.
For all of our environmentalist, pro, tree hugging type folk, listen to Trent. Trent's got some good advice. All right, up next, we've got, as we teased earlier in the show, our quick, about 30-minute chat with Jim Herman.
Yep, great interview.
Great interview, very unique timing, like we mentioned, in that we were able to interview him Friday morning about 9 a.m. He teed off at noon 13, so about 3 hours later.
Shout out to him. Just like, yeah, I'm not doing much in my downtime before my Friday round. I'll just come on, shoot the shit with the foreplay guys.
Laid back guy.
Yes.
Awesome that he agreed to come on with us. Like I said, it was cool to pick his brain mid-tournament. He wasn't even planning on playing, which we get into a little bit. Was hitting it well, decided to get into it. So, yeah, really cool opportunity to talk to somebody while he had, I believe, a 2-shot lead.
Yes, and we also got into a little bit of his backstory involving Trump, which was very, very interesting to people who don't know his story, so that's cool too.
First minute, maybe 2 minutes of the interview, there's a slight echo. Huge kudos to Tech Andrew, who was kind of manning the fort in there and doing all kinds of manual stuff. Maybe kind of oversold what he was doing, but he eventually got rid of it, so it's very short. Minute or two of a little bit of an echo, then the rest of the interview, it's perfect, so please enjoy this interview with our guy, Jimmy Herman.
This interview with Jim Herman is brought to you by Blue Apron. Blue Apron is the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. Blue Apron's mission is to make incredible home cooking accessible to everyone. Blue Apron can be delivered to 99% of the continental U.S., and they ship the exact amount of each ingredient required for a recipe. Some of their featured upcoming meals include spicy shrimp coconut curry with cabbage and rice salmon piccata with ouzo and broccoli. I can't cook, but Blue Apron sent me a whole bunch of meals, and I cranked up the John Mayer and was able to make vegetable chili and baked sweet potatoes with crisp tortilla chips. So if I can do it, then so can you. So for less than $10 per person per meal, Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious, home-cooked meals. Each meal comes with a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card and can be prepared in 40 minutes or less. So check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/foreplay, foreplay spelled Foreplay. You will love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. That's blueapron.com/foreplay. Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
Okay, we're now joined by Jim Herman, who this is unique for us. It's Friday morning, about 9 a.m. Just shot 9 under 62 yesterday. Teeing off in about 3 hours. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm well. Yeah, you can't complain when you got a 9 under on the board. So.
No, that's a hell of a start. We were kind of laughing too. Originally, we were going to record this, Wednesday or Thursday, but you kind of decided last minute to play Tampa. Sounds like a good decision so far.
Yeah, so far so good. So I was just looking for a couple weeks off at home. It was a long West Coast, and I just had some good vibes after the Honda, and I was playing really well. Just didn't make anything, so it was kind of a late addition. Wanting to just get back right out and get on the golf course. So it was definitely a good decision to get back out.
Yeah, kind of curious because especially with Bay Hill coming up, and a lot of people were kind of talking about that tournament, who's playing and who's not. Just kind of talk a little bit about what all does go into kind of the scheduling decisions, what previously maybe made you say, no, I'm going to play it, and then you decided, actually, I'm going to play kind of last minute.
Well, it all depends on everyone's, I guess their status out here. When you have a win, like I have from last year's Houston Open, you're able to make your schedule pretty much however you want. And I haven't had that luxury in the past, outside of last year, where I was in the top 125 as well. So you can put a schedule together, pick the tournaments you want to play that fits your eye, the golf courses, or things that you want to bring your family to. So just a lot of things go into it, and then if you're forced into playing whenever you have to play because you're not up the money list enough, or like I was out of the web.com part of the tour rankings, so you play when they tell you to play. So it's just been nice to be able to make my own schedule. So family goes into the decision. I've got 2 children and my wife. We live on the other side of the state, over in Palm City, Florida.
Okay.
But just an easy decision once I decided to make the call here for Tampa, just to drive over on Tuesday afternoon, get some practice in, and then start it up on Thursday.
All right, so you shoot a 9 under 62. You got a little bit of a lead. Would you rather tee off early today? I saw you got a 12-13 tee time. Do you just want to get back out there, or what's your feeling going into today?
Yeah, obviously you'd love to go right back out. That usually means you played in the afternoon, and obviously you have to switch. If you play in the morning, you play in the afternoon. If you play in the afternoon, you play in the morning. So best thing to do would have a really low round in the afternoon round, and then you can come right back out in the morning. But that's not obviously how most rounds work out on tour. Low rounds are usually shot in the morning with usually the winds are down, and you can take advantage, and then you hold on in the afternoon. So, yeah, in a perfect world, love to get right back out there this morning.
Yeah, I'm sure you're a little antsy. We're pumped to watch. It'll be really unique for us because we've never really interviewed anybody. We've done a handful of pretty good interviews, but never really interviewed anybody mid-tournament. So it'll be fun to watch it this afternoon.
Yeah, we'll see how it all turns out.
So,
looking forward to it.
Yeah, yesterday you birdied 16. You played the Snake Pit at 1 under. Obviously, those type of stretches, the Snake Pit, the Bear Trap, they get a ton of media coverage. Just kind of curious, how are those stretches? How much are those really on your guys' mind out there?
Well, it gets most of the attention, obviously, like 16, 17, 18 at Sawgrass, the Bear Trap, 15, 16, 17 there at the Honda at PGA National, and then the Snake Pit here, 16, 17, 18. So obviously they just put a name to it, but it's just usually the end of the round. So Charlotte has the Green Mile as well. So just a way for media to dramatize golf a little bit more. So we look at it as just another hole. It's usually just the hardest holes on the golf course, but
right.
They just like to put a name to it. You're aware of it, obviously, especially last week or 2 weeks ago at the Honda Classic at PGA National. They have obviously 2 of the hardest par 3s that we'll play on the tour in that stretch. So
Yeah, I didn't really realize either how rowdy the bear trap stretch in terms of the crowd had gotten in the last several years.
Yeah, they've really embraced that. A lot of tournaments have. They've embraced party hole mentality, and it's growing. It's good. You know, we don't want it on every hole, but obviously this is the 16th hole at the Waste Management at Phoenix is the gold standard for party holes. So I think everyone's trying to live up to that a little bit. I don't think we need that level out on tour every week, and especially on a hole like 17 at PGA National. It's such a demanding golf hole with water pretty much on all sides except the back. So, you know, if it gets a little rowdy there and you're hitting a much more difficult club, usually a upwards 4, 5, 6 iron into that green versus a 9 iron or some wedges on 16 at Phoenix. So there's a time and place for it, and I guess Honda is embracing it, and, you know, it'll work for a while. I don't think it needs to get any bigger than it is right now.
Yeah, I was just a little surprised by the rowdiness because, like you said, the hole's already hard enough. You don't need a bunch of fucking clowns going nuts out there in the hole. You're trying to hit a tough shot, but anyway, moving on. You opened with a 30. You played the back nine first yesterday. Then you birdied 4 of the next 5 holes. You know, any real low numbers start to creep into your mind there?
Maybe a 59.
Sure. I mean, obviously. Anytime you're getting near double digits under par, there's always that thought. You know, I really wasn't even aware of what par was or what it would take to get to 59. Usually it's 13 under on a par 72. But, I was just trying to make as many birdies as possible. Once you got to get to 10 under before you even think about it because, you obviously got to get double digits. So I had 4 good holes coming in while I was 9 under, so I just didn't hit it as close as I had the previous 14 holes, and I really didn't have many good looks to get it further under par than I was. So keeping at 9 was really good to finish the round.
Yeah, I'm curious because golf's such a funny game. You know, you think we try as best we can on the show to relate to just kind of your average guy that goes out and on every level, sometimes you play really well, sometimes you play terrible. Is there something yesterday in a round like yesterday that's just clicking, like something that's just different where like, hey, today I freaking got it today?
You always there's obviously been times where I've felt really good going into a tournament and I just didn't have it. Once you put the peg in the ground on the first hole, it just didn't transfer from practice to the tournament. But I felt really good going into yesterday. I had some good practice the week before, and obviously I committed. I felt really good. If I wasn't on, I don't think I would have come over to Tampa, but felt really good coming in. And then during the Pro-Am on Wednesday, I really struck the ball well, and I was rolling the ball well. I just had like most people, on the tour, we're always looking for something new and to replace a part of our game that wasn't always working. So at Honda, I played really well tee to green, but I just didn't make anything, and I would have been definitely in the top 10 contending if I just could have made a few putts like I did obviously yesterday. But so just a little putter switch, went back to a different model. The day after Honda, I played in a Seminole Pro member, switched putters back to a model I used all last year during the win and everything. And sometimes you just, even things you win with, you get a little tired of and you think there's something better. But just back to Old Faithful and this week, and she cooperated, and we were making some putts. I think we had 25 putts yesterday. So.
Yeah, it's funny. Putting, it's just that mantra never ends. Just whatever works in the putting green. You take everything else out of it, whatever the hell's working.
Well, it's always the same, drive for show, putt for dough. But you got to be able to roll the rock on tour if you're going to be in contention.
Are you a superstitious guy at all? Anything you did before yesterday's round that you want to maybe repeat for today's round?
I like to say that I'm not, but I definitely do some things that would be classified as superstitious. So
let's name a couple of them.
Well, sometimes you eat at the same location. You have the exact same thing to eat. So I do fall into that routine, whether it would be just at a Carrabba's or if it was a Chipotle or just whatever you do. It just seems like, all right, we're just going to repeat that.
I'm kind of the same way. I never really classify myself. I always say, no, I'm not superstitious. But if I do something well, I'll do the exact same routine the next day.
Exactly. I mean, I guess we're just trying to trick ourselves mentally that we're not superstitious, but, you fall right back into it. But,
little head games with ourselves. I like that.
Exactly. Those things, same ball marker, just, just same little ideas. So.
Well, I got to ask you about the ball marker because you pretty famously rock a presidential ball marker from, what is it, somebody back in Michigan or something like that I read?
No, I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
Good friend of mine, Steve Wider, he moved to Florida when I was just finishing up school at the University of Cincinnati, and he was starting his journey in the golf business and moved to the PJ Village, and I ended up following down to that area, and I was trying to make it on the PGA Tour, going through mini tours and the Q schools and everything like that. But we were good friends in Ohio, and then we've stayed good friends and live in the same town in Florida. He's a history teacher now, and him and my agent, Michael Wolf, they came up with this idea about using the dollar presidential coins that he had just gotten out of a Coke machine one day at work, and he's like, we should just use this. So, and then he started in with a little history lesson for the ball marker each week. So it's been nice, a little fun thing, and we got President Taft working this week. He's a Bearcat as well. So
that's going to be my next question. Who do we got on the coin this week?
Yep. So then the superstitions there are: we play well. The coin stays the same. If it wasn't a very successful day, he gets switched out. So
you might be a pretty superstitious guy, Jim.
Yeah, I think it's turning into that.
So Copperhead's pretty traditionally tough course. I was looking 7 under, got into a playoff last year, 10 under the year before, and then 7 under in 2014. Why do you think the course played a bit easier, obviously, especially for you, yesterday?
Well, I just think there were a couple items. The golf course was resurfaced 2 years ago, and last year the greens were not as and we're not up to standards as they normally are on the tour. They were just coming in off a grow-in, so they weren't as true, and it was just more difficult to make putts last year. So this year, another year of growing, they're just perfect. So the ball is rolling exactly where you want it to go. So the greens were more true, and then obviously yesterday, first thing out in the morning, the wind was down. Just like I said, morning rounds on tour, 90% of the time are going to be where the lower scores are. So wind is the biggest defense out here. It's tree lined. You get the wind thrown in the middle of that. It goes down holes where you think it's downwind, but it's actually playing into the wind just because of the tunnel effect with the tree-lined nature of the course. So the wind just plays tricks on you out here. And that's what makes it most difficult.
Yeah, the players, I feel like Copperhead, it's one of those courses that the players, every time we go there, just rave about it. What is it about the course that the touring pros seem to just love?
Well, we're in Florida, but there's a lot of terrain. It's just so different. We're used to just the flat pieces of land, homes on each side. PJ National is your more typical Florida swing golf course.
Yeah, Bay Hill, too, I feel like is pretty flat.
Bay Hill, yes. Bay Hill fits that mold. Doral has the water. Previously had Doral on the schedule. Doral has all the water.
Right.
But Copperhead just doesn't have just has a pond on 16 and the pond on 2 and in between 2 and 3, but really not a lot of water, which is obviously so atypical for a Florida golf course. So I just think the rolling terrain, the tree line nature, and not a lot of water, I think makes it a favorite.
So curious what the game plan is here. 99.999% of our listeners will never play on tour. They'll never have a lead like you got on tour. It's pretty much almost exactly 3 hours now to your tee time. What's Jim Herman up to for the next 3 hours?
Well, just finish up with you guys and then get the outfit ready. It's probably going to have some superstition involved in it. Since we've already decided that I'm superstitious, so
yep.
Probably going to have a little blue pant, red shirt going on. I kind of like wearing blues, so just get dressed and get another cup of coffee, and I'm a big coffee drinker. So
you do too much? You get jittery at all?
No, I don't think there's ever too much. I think if I don't have enough, then I'm kind of too low key, and I'm not even, I'm not out there. So I like the coffee to get me going, and that's my club pro days. I was a club pro 4 or 5 years before I got out on tour. So the early mornings of being a golf club professional is you'll learn to love coffee. So the 4:30, 5 a.m. wake up calls for the 6 o'clock arrival, it definitely leads to being a heavy coffee drinker. So
yeah,
that's continued, and I do enjoy a couple cups of coffee. So a cup of coffee, get in the car, drive over to Copperhead, get a bite to eat, and just relax and head out to the putting green about an hour before my starting time, and then just do the same routine, a little putting, 20 minutes of long game, a little pitching and chipping, and then finish up with putting, and then off we go. Just kind of stick to the same routine, superstition, and go from that. So
that's a good transition, because I feel like a lot of people probably don't realize that in 2006, you're just you had tried, I believe in 2000 you turned pro, you grinded out the mini tours, which is obviously, we've gone over it with a couple of our other guests, some of the toughest grind, trying to make it in pro sports there is. 2006, you're, an assistant pro at Trump National in Bedminster, New Jersey. I feel like a lot of people probably wouldn't realize that.
Yeah, it gets more and more, the better I play, the more my story's told. It's not the normal path for most guys out here. But we've all had our stories and our own paths and our own journeys. If you're not a can't-miss kid coming out of college and All-American, it's not the easiest road, just like any professional sport. Baseball, just years and years in the minor leagues, just trying to move your way up each level until you can get to the big dance.
Yeah, and we have
to that.
Yeah, we have, we don't give a shit at all about politics, anything like that. It has nothing to do with our show at all. We just think that the story, the fact that in 2006, you're assistant pro, you get on Donald Trump's radar, he starts to help you out a little bit, he believes in your game a lot, he still believes in your game a lot. I think that's just a phenomenal story and a phenomenal connection no matter what. Yeah, no, it's been pretty amazing to think of how this has all gone down, and just took that job in right around the new year in January of 06. Okay.
I got a call from Mickey Gallagher, who's the head professional at Trump National in Bedminster. A friend of mine, I had met Mickey a couple times, but my college roommate was working for him at a previous position, and he wasn't going to take the assistant job with him, and he told him to call me. I'm in Florida, and just can't make it on tour. He's working in the golf business, but a great player, and be great for the position. Who knows what happens if I don't take that job? I'd just gotten married in 05, the September of 05. I had to move my wife and I up there, and she was teaching school in South Florida, and she didn't come up till June. So we're married 6 months, and off I go to New Jersey. She stays in Florida for another 4 months. So yeah, who knows what happens if I don't take that job? I feel like maybe eventually I would have got through, but the added confidence of being around now president, but then real estate mogul, he was just he exudes confidence, and he made me very confident in myself when I played with him. I played very well, and I just always got a shot in the arm when I play with him of confidence. It's been a great story, and I'm glad that I've been able to be around him, and I'm able to call him a friend, and it's pretty amazing that he follows my golf just as much as some other things. So.
Yeah, it's great, because even, I'm trying to think back this time last year in the heat of kind of the primary race and all that, and he said when you won the Shell Houston, he turned on his TV, he sat down, and immediately, started tweeting and being like, "That's my guy, Jim Herman, what a finish." I think that's just, it's wild, and we might be onto something too with the superstition thing, because I've seen you several times kind of say, "I always play well when I play with Trump."
I do. I just don't. I'm usually on my game when I'm with him. So it's just him. I think most everyone plays well around him. He's just a very confident guy, and we all have fun. Makes it very loose. It's a fun foursome. And obviously we're just playing for fun. It's not a high stakes game or anything like that, but it's just a fun time being around him then, and even now as the president.
So a few weeks, we just kind of touched on it, but you're going to be the defending champ at the Shell Houston. What do you think that's going to be like? You be carrying the chin maybe a little higher when you stroll in there?
Yeah, I would think so. It's a new experience. My only one win on the web.com, came in Australia, and I didn't get a chance to defend there. I moved on to the PGA Tour, so I haven't had a chance to be a defending champion in anything since I've made it out to the web.com or the PGA Tour. So it's going to be a pretty exciting week. The build up to it for me, obviously, is doing a lot of interviews and things like this for you guys, and I can't tell you how enjoyable it is to go back and talk about it because obviously who wouldn't want to talk about one of your greatest moments of your life. So
yeah,
it's been very enjoyable doing interviews and talking about it. But here in 3 weeks, going back to a place that changed. I was having a very successful career for myself. I was 5 years on tour, but just living anonymously on tour, it was great for me, great for my family, but obviously then just steps up another notch when you are able to put yourself in position and pull it out, and now I'm able to call myself a PGA Tour winner the rest of my life. I mean, it's just amazing feeling, and I can't wait to get back here in a few weeks.
So last year, just to keep talking about it, seems like you enjoy talking about your win.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah. You had about, I think on 72nd hole, you had about 20 feet. You just have to two-putt for the win. For whatever reason, I feel like those mid-range or lag putt type distances, when you just need two putts, they become a lot harder.
They do. They're very hard. And going back to the 71st hole, I had about a 25, 30-footer. 17 is a very difficult hole as well. Just doesn't have the dramatic, not as dramatic without the water that 18 has, but a very difficult hole in its own right. Had that lag putt. At this point I'm leading. I need two pars pretty much. It would be difficult to ask for someone to birdie 17 or 18 to tie.
Right.
So I just need two pars, and I've got 30 feet on 17, and that's the length. I left it about 5 foot short. You're always thinking, don't run it by, and then you leave it short. So that was a putt, obviously, that really made 18, more of a par and you win versus par as a playoff, or bogey you lose. So
right.
I had to make that putt on 17. It was obviously a big putt for me just to make that, and then I had that chance on 18 just to watch Hendrick. He's right in front of me, and I knew exactly what I was going to have to do. He was not able to make birdie, so par wins it for me, and I'm a big Tin Cup fan, so unfortunately, some of the endings on that are not
not the same,
not the thing that you'd want. But a lot of the sayings that they have in there, I sometimes repeat, and they're in that last fairway, and it's like, all right, Roy, I think he says there, I think he needs birdie to win. Birdie wins it, and after Hendrick made his putt and missed, and just there talking to myself. Like I'm sure we all do in golf, talking to ourselves a little too much. But, I remember mouthing it, just, all right, par wins it. Let's go do it. So hit, obviously, that great drive and hit a really good approach. It just didn't get as close as I thought. 20 feet, two putts for the win. Obviously, it helped, I think, on this one. It wasn't going to be about getting there. It was going to be how far by is it going to go. It was kind of up and down a hill, so leaving it short was probably out of the question.
Yeah.
You really had to hit a really poor putt to leave it short because it was so quick running away. So I got a good read from Jamie Lovemark, who was my playing partner that day, and he had a similar line, and it was really quick going over the hill. So it was nice to see that leading into my putt, and I was able to get it down there pretty close. I don't recall being nervous over that last putt. It didn't feel very long at all. I don't know what the actual stats were on it, if it was 2 or 3 feet, but I think it was somewhere in the 2-foot range, and just stepped in and hit it right away, and that was it.
Man, that's awesome. I'm
That
just
is.
like, even as a golf nut, I'm like getting chills just you talking about it and that type of insight, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty amazing to get yourself into those positions. I mean, obviously the whole tournament comes down to you, and you know, are you able to answer the bell and perform? So it's great to be able to say that I was able to do it.
That's incredible. So we're gonna finish. We always close with a little rapid fire. We just got a couple quick questions.
Yeah, they can be short answers. I'll go first.
Okay.
You ready, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is your go-to curse word after you hit a shitty shot?
Man, it's usually we can curse on here.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you know, just like, what the fuck.
Love that one.
I like that because you're questioning it. You're like, what in the fuck was that?
Yeah, that comes out a lot. A little, you know, in text with all my friends, it's WTF. So we're pretty, but that one's used quite a bit. You know. Hopefully the camera's not on.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What is the worst incident of hitting a spectator that you've ever had?
I've been very fortunate that I haven't hit many people, and the people that I have hit, it's just been glancing or nothing life-threatening. But my brother has a different story. He got hit at Augusta in during the second round of Augusta National last year at the Masters. He got hit in the back. So that's a funny story that we tell a lot. He brings it up quite a bit. And then my wife actually, she got hit in the hand, in the forearm. I'm sorry, this past a few weeks ago at Pebble Beach by one of the amateurs in an adjacent hole. So very scary. It was, you know, they're just on another hole and one comes flying in, you know, a foot here or there, and you never know what's happening. So it's a dangerous game. Spectators are. They're at the mercy of us golfers, so they gotta watch out. But my worst incident was last year. I think it was last year at the Memorial. I need a par to make the cut at Memorial. I'm on the 9th hole, just down, little downhill slope, just pond right in front, gallery on the right side of the pond. They're not in play at all. I have a gap wedge, and I got a little close to the hosel, and I put a little shank on it.
All of a sudden they're in play.
And all of a sudden they're in play, and I got a guy right in the ankle, and it was bruised up pretty good. So that's my only.
What's the go-to there? Are you like a sign the glove guy and give it to him?
Yeah, you apologize as much as you can, and yeah, glove, ball, whatever you can give them. I don't have. There's a lot of publicity with Phil, his bankroll. He usually gives a glove with 100 or something in it, but
Phil,
something like that. But yeah, just a glove and a couple apologies.
All right, Jim. I think that's all we got. I think I can speak for Trent and our little producer Rob here too. That we're big fans coming in. I think we're even much bigger fans after having chat with you. We really appreciate you taking the time.
This was great.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It was a fun time, and let's do it again sometime for sure.
Absolutely. Good luck this weekend. We'll be pulling for you, and thanks again for taking the time. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, Jim. Take care.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, that was Jim Herman. What a chat with that guy.
Yeah, I liked, obviously, an opportunity for us to talk to a guy during a tournament, but also just him talking about conditions and shots he's hit, especially at the Shell Houston Open. Very, very cool insight from Hermie.
Like that we determined he's super superstitious after saying he's not.
Yeah, he was like, I'm not that superstitious, and then he's talking about different presidents on different coins that he uses if he's feeling one way or the other. You're a superstitious guy, Jimmy Herman.
Different outfits, sticking with outfits, about as superstitious as you could possibly be.
He's talking about Chipotle, he's talking about this and that. Very superstitious.
So he went 71 Friday. It's very, very difficult always to follow up a really low round, like a 9 under 62 with another solid round. Held it together, played well Friday, Saturday. He shot even par both days. Sunday, a 3 under 68. Finished just 2 shots back. Like we mentioned, he wasn't even going to play. Hell of a week for him. He's the defending champ at the Shell Houston Open in a couple weeks, which we talked about as well. So,
I didn't want to say I thought he was going to fade because I wasn't sure. But at a tough course like that, it's hard to play 4 rounds consistently like really well, and he did really well, I thought.
We were a little nervous. We couldn't decide either if it'd be good for business if he just collapsed. Like if he shot, I talked to the foreplay guys 2 hours ago and then just shit the bed on the course.
Yeah, if some Golf Channel announcer was like, what was the difference between you shooting a 62 and shooting an 81? He's just like,
fucking foreplay guys.
I went on this Barstool Sports podcast. I'm never doing that again.
I think that'd be great for business.
Yeah, I mean, all publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, so we've said this a couple times now, but I think I'm a bigger fan afterwards. Haven't chatted with him. Didn't know about a ton about him personality-wise, things like that. Hadn't really heard or listened to a ton of interviews. Really glad we got him on. What a normal, very normal, just relatable guy.
Yeah, and I think that's been the theme with a lot of our interviews. When we come away from them, we're like, these guys are way cooler than we thought. Maybe it's because our interview style isn't as polished and as professional as all the other ones, but that might work in our favor with guys like that.
Yeah, and he's got an interesting backstory and all of that. So yeah, I was really glad we got him on. Thanks again to Hermy, as they call him, for hopping on with us a couple hours before his round. Great week for him. Happy to see. On to From the Gallery. We got, what's up?
I was going to say everyone's favorite segment.
People love it. Everybody loves it. Don't be afraid to email us, foreplay@barstoolsports.com, @foreplaypod on Twitter and Instagram. First one, guy had a pretty weird situation where he got matched up with a stranger on a golf course. We've all been there. We've all had horror stories. Sometimes we've had good stories. You never know. This guy says, boys, I had a real weird thing happen to me the other day on the course. I was out playing a quick 9 by myself and unfortunately got paired up with some rando. This always sucks as it is, but this guy was asking me religious questions the entire time. I didn't want to be a dick, so I was kind of nodding along with his conversations. We've all been there. Conversations about Jesus and whatever, he says.
Jesus, he said Jesus and whatever.
He literally wrote Jesus and whatever. Here's where things got weird. On the 9th green, after I shook his hand and tried to get my ass out of there, he asked me if I wanted to take a knee and pray. What would you guys do in this situation? We had a group behind us, and I just wanted to get off the green, but I didn't want to be rude, so I was like, what the hell? I'll get it over with, and he did it. Do you guys have any funny or awkward stories being paired with random people? I'll be honest, religion is one of those things where I feel about as awkward and just unfit, uncomfortable as I possibly could be.
Yes. But
I don't know how any of the things work, touching your shoulders, the Trinity. I don't know any of it. So, like, if somebody said on the green, will you pray with me, like, even more than I wouldn't want to be praying, I'd just be embarrassed. I don't know what to do.
All right, that's an interesting point.
Yep.
I would say I would relate it to a lot like when you go to, as you grow up, you are like, still go to like Mass on Christmas or on Easter. In my family, that's the case. You just go to make your aunts and your moms and dad happy.
Yep.
And you just sort of like play along. I think that's what I would have done in this case. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be there on Christmas and Easter, but I'm there, so I'll just do it, get it over with, and just hope for the best.
I agree. I mean, I probably would have done the same thing in the same situation. I would have, you can I've realized you can go through the motions and make it look like you're doing it, maybe just kind of half-ass.
Yep. I will say, in the situation that I'm talking about, there's lots of people, so you can fake it and nobody knows because you're in a sea of people. If it's you and one other guy
on the 9th green with a group behind you,
any mistake that you make in terms of head, stomach, shoulder.
By the way, we're doing it right now, and we're touching our shoulders and foreheads.
We're praying in the Barstool podcast studio.
Yeah, after we just dropped like 100 F-bombs, I owe like $1 million to the
When it's just you and the other guy, he is going to notice, unless you close your eyes when you kneel. Oh, boy. Because otherwise...
I don't ever close my eyes unless I'm sleeping.
What a quote that is.
I don't trust people. I would definitely not be on a green where people might hit a golf ball with my eyes closed talking about, quote, Jesus or whatever.
That might be the biggest flaw in this guy's idea is like, hey, let's close our eyes, bow our heads while there's dudes launching fucking rockets
we'll
at us.
Kneel in the middle of the green with our eyes closed.
That's a weird move from that guy.
What a fucking psychopath this guy is. Jesus. I didn't mean Jesus. Okay, all right. There's a lot going on here.
Him saying Jesus and whatever was great.
I've never had anything like this. I feel like the most awkward thing you can get is get matched up with a random angry golfer, basically. Because it's like, oh, yeah, really nice to meet you, Jim. And then he just starts ranting and throwing his clubs and being super pissed off immediately.
Which is incredibly common because people on the golf course are completely different people than they are in real life.
100%. I get very frustrated in the golf course, but when you're with somebody random and there's certain people that just don't handle it, And man, they could go nuts out there, and you're just standing there like, okay.
It's like, hey man, we just met. Why don't you dial it back a little bit?
This is weird. So I've never had anything that wild, but it's a very relatable situation. We've all been matched up with random guys. Sometimes it can really ruin your round, especially when you got to do the Jesus or whatever.
You'll be hard pressed to find a weirder story than being with a Jesus freak and having him kneel on the ninth green.
What a story. That's a good one to have in your back pocket. Touche to that guy. Thanks for sending that one in. Next one, a guy, this guy kind of went on. He talked about equipment changes, the greats versus now. Ultimately, he got to the point of he believes that golf is perhaps the only sport of the major sports where the old greats would beat the current players.
I would argue that's incredibly wrong.
He wrote this down like it was fact, and like we were supposed to just discuss if it's the only one or not is it true.
Yeah.
This guy's an idiot, I think.
I think he is too, because there are very serious talks in the game about just how long these new players are. I mean, they would blow the old players out of the water.
I looked this up 5 seconds ago. Bobby Jones won the British Open at St. Andrews in 1927 with a total score of 285, and he won by 6 shots. Zach Johnson, when he won in a playoff, the British Open at St. Andrews 2 years ago, he won with a total of 273.
And that's Zach Johnson we're talking about. That's not some guy who's bombing it down the fairway.
And you can go look at the scores, and everyone's going to be like, well, the equipment and all that. Yeah, I get that. But look at 273, that was 3 guys got into a playoff with that, and Spieth and Day and all those guys were just a couple shots back, 1 shot back. And so
what's the argument with equipment? Are they saying that
he's saying if you put the same equipment that these guys have in the hands of the old greats, same conditions, same ball, same clubs that all the guys have now, that they're better than the current guys.
No, that's incorrect.
I think that's wildly incorrect. With the fitness and all of the TrackMan, the nutrition, all that goes into it, they stare at videos of their swings. Don't get me wrong, some of those old guys, they could definitely compete. Some of them have unbelievable feel, and there's the intangibles and all of that. But if you're going to look across the board, there's literally no argument to be made.
No, there really isn't. And how this guy was just saying that as like a fact, like, oh, golf, they could compete, is not true.
So
the only sport that I think that's true in, if we want to get in a little bit of an argument, I think is baseball.
Yeah, we've talked about that before because the bats, they're still the wooden bats.
I think pitchers could tie up, like I think, I'm blanking on any name, but I think old pitchers could do pretty well against hitters nowadays.
Yeah, I still think the teams nowadays would be overall better, but I think it'd be closer than any other sport.
Definitely. Football, obviously not.
It's just big monsters would just destroy
Football
everybody.
is so insanely different now than it was, and then basketball, maybe basketball, but that'd be closer than the other ones other than baseball.
Definitely not golf, I don't think.
No, not golf.
But, I mean, it's also one of those, who knows, but
Well, that's the thing. We can argue about this till we're blue in the face. We'll just never know.
And again, I do think some of the top of the line greats, or if you're talking about Nicklaus, like you might find 1 or 2 examples where they could really compete or even be the best guy, sure. But he's talking about it like the old greats would just crush the entire field now. All of them.
Yeah, which is an insane notion.
So that's just not true. That guy's wrong. Next one.
Thanks for emailing in, though.
Yeah, appreciate it. Send in a different one. Well, we did talk about it, so that was a good one. Nolan sent in. He said, I was wondering if you guys had any good non-monetary golf bets with you and your buddies. For example, my friend and I have an ongoing bet. We choose a par 3 before the round and see who can get closest to the pin. The loser gets to pick the winner's phone background until the next time we play together. I lost the last time we played, so I've had the same background for 5 months. It's been a constant reminder that he's better than I am at golf. It's a nice bet because it doesn't put a dent in my wallet. When I lose, I was wondering if you guys have anything similar. I do.
I'd have to think about it a little bit, but I'm more curious about what the background is on this guy's phone. Like,
Me too. I can't
how
believe
is
he
he
didn't
not going
say
to put
that.
that in there?
I should have responded to the email and asked him. It's a really good point.
Like, is it like a big old dick?
That's what I was going to think. Dick and balls or something.
He makes it seem like since it's been 5 months that maybe it was like a picture of, I don't know what it could be. You got to make it fucking gruesome and gross.
Yeah, because that sucks.
Yeah.
Looking at gruesome, gross stuff sucks.
Every time you open your phone, how many times do you open your phone during the day, you think?
Hundreds.
Especially
us. Hundreds.
And this guy, I feel like he just like put the background of some golf course he doesn't like or something. You need to put it like...
Yeah, like the hole that he lost on.
Ooh. I need like a knife wound. or a shotgun blast to somebody's leg.
All right. So Trent, you're into like you don't like looking at violence.
Do you?
No, not really.
That's what I'm okay. I'm just saying it needs to be more extreme, or like set a picture of some super fat chick.
Yeah, that's a good one. Just some gross fat chick.
That's the. But what do you have in terms of? You do have one of these.
Yeah. So my buddies and I have a thing where if this is a good one. It's funny. We've had some really funny videos come out of it. Maybe I'll find them and tweet them out. Where if you lose by another member in our foursome, if you lose by 18 strokes or more, you have to crab walk from the 18th green to the car.
Like it. I like that a lot.
No matter how far the distance is. And you have to crab walk the whole way. And it gets intense coming down the stretch if you're 15, 16 shots back. And, you start to shit the bed, then you got to embarrassingly crab walk your bitch ass all the way to the car.
I feel like crab walking is sneaky exhausting, too.
Oh, it sucks.
You be sore for a week.
You're like a crab. You move really fast for like the first 20 yards, and then you're just toast.
You're dead.
Yeah, you like collapse to the ground. Your arm, it's just like weird muscles that you never use. But it's very, very funny to watch somebody kind of motor around like a crab.
I got to tell you, I did not think I was going to like that story as much as I do, and I hope people do this now. Maybe not 18 strokes. Make it something.
Something, yeah.
Make it where if you beat a guy by a certain amount, he's got to crab walk to the car, and send us those fucking videos.
Yeah. We want people crab walking on the course. Make it whatever you got, but that's the best one we got. And like I said, it's produced some really funny.
And you're just hammered drunk, so you're like, this sucks. Like, fuck.
Yeah, and sometimes, sometimes you see him like crab through the bunker or something, like trying to take the most direct route. You like can't see behind you, and you're like sometimes you got to go over like a gravel road. It's just you don't know what's down there.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a really good tradition. Throw that one in there. Last one from the gallery. Chris, he says last week's episode, Riggsy mentioned that he and his buddies, they do a Ryder Cup style tournament every year. Just kind of wondering, could you talk a little bit about that, give some tips on what setup we could use that's both competitive and fun. So, yeah, I'm actually a part of two different kind of Ryder Cup type trips. I'm going on 1 and 2 weeks we're going to Austin, down to Barton Creek.
This was what your 40 days, 40 nights was.
So, yeah, my last day of my 40 days, 40 nights, parentheses with a snow day, close parentheses, would be the Friday that I arrive on this trip.
Yep.
And it's, these things have to evolve because the first year, it's like anything else. There's growing pains. There's little kinks you got to iron out to make it the best trip.
How many people do you say are involved in this?
24.
That's a fuck ton of people to do anything. I'm not talking about organized a golf tournament, to do anything.
It's insane, and we have I can already tell insane is going to be my new word.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
God damn it, Riggs. So we have 24 guys, and we have a waiting list of a handful of guys. It's all my buddies from college.
Okay.
And there's a core of them that all played on the golf team. So we have an unbelievable skill discrepancy from guys that are legit plus 2 or 3 handicaps, scratch, all the way up to guys that are 30 handicaps.
Shout out to those guys. Those are my people.
That stink, that play very similar games to Trent, what I would imagine Robbie. I'm somewhere in the middle. And so it's always tricky. The best way, you have to rely on the handicap system. We decided, I think a year ago, to just require everyone to have an official handicap. So you got to get one, otherwise you can't come on the trip. It does cost $30-$40 a year, whatever the hell it is, but you put your scores in, make sure you have a handicap, make sure everybody understands how to put the scores in correctly. I cannot explain enough how important that is to the trip. Everyone says it's a nuisance. Everyone says, that's an unnecessary expenditure, et cetera, et cetera. It's not. It's really the only way to make it fair. You can max and kind of cap out the handicap. We usually do like 25 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You just cap it out, and then you try to group everybody together. But we've now made it. We made a mistake the first couple of years where we didn't want people to have to take Friday off work, so we would do 36 holes on Saturday. We would do the morning best ball, 2-on-2, and then we would do the afternoon. It would be scramble because it's a little bit more of a shit show. Everybody's been drinking all day.
Yeah.
Scramble's a little more, lax, whatever. And then Sunday singles. Now we've made it a requirement 3-day trip. We do best ball on Friday. We do scramble on Saturday. And then we do singles on Sunday.
Okay.
And then we always do like optional fuck around round afterwards if you want.
Okay.
And whatnot. And the problem that we had previously was everyone would be outside in the sun drinking so heavily all day on Saturday. By the time we went out to dinner Saturday night, everyone's like falling asleep at dinner.
Right. That's not
Shotgun mulligans and all that shit all day. You're just a dead person.
People crab walking fucking everywhere.
Crab walking, your hands are all beat up. So that's the best format we do. I highly encourage that you implement awards into the show, into the trip. So we do one where the losing team that loses the worst that week. So if you lose 7-6 or something absurd like that, we have these absolutely gross, disgusting head covers that you have to put on one of your clubs for the entire year.
Nice.
And your bag, you and your partner, you have to rock those. We have another like MVP, trophy that's a really original trophy. That's mostly off-course MVP.
Okay.
We have for the team that records the lowest net scramble score. We have these cool lapel pins that are customized.
You guys are official.
So you got to have shit like that because people take it really seriously.
Right.
And, and guys will, like, wear that when you go out to dinner on Saturday night with your buddies.
Just,
like
fuck
throughout
with
the
people.
year, they'll wear their cool lapel pin and shit. It might sound dumb and all that, and your girlfriends and shit will make fun of you and call you losers, but it means so much to you.
They just don't. Them girls, they just don't get it.
Them girls just don't get it. So try to implement as much shit like that as you can. It keeps everybody engaged.
Yep.
Yeah, all of that. And that's the best thing you can do. We rotate every year. We go to different places. It's definitely expensive to travel every place. So like when we first got out of college, we couldn't really do it the right way for the first couple of years. So we didn't. Now it's been, 6-7 years since we all got out of college. So we go to different places. We went to Innisbrook 2 years ago. We went to Amelia Island.
Oh.
This past year, and then like I said, we're going to Barton Creek, just outside of Austin, Texas this year. So I would encourage people to get involved in those if they can.
I think people are going to be really interested in that. I mean, 24 people, I'm telling you, that number blows me away.
It's amazing. It really is amazing. And you treat it as like a reunion. Right?
Yeah,
that's
of
just
course.
like what we do as a reunion. Golf's part of it.
Of course.
So you go, you hang out, you get to play, and you try to mix up the foursomes as much as you can, play with all your different buddies. You don't get to see that often. That's a good way for them to sell it to their significant others or whatever.
I have a question.
What's up?
Same partner every year or no?
No. So we do one of my trips. We do same teams. Once you get drafted onto a team, that's your team for life.
Oh wow.
And the two teams hate each other. We've never lost. Shout out to the Back Nine Bandits. That's my team name. The other one, we do a draft every year. And so those teams are not, they're changed up every year. We get like new uniforms and all that shit. Mm-hmm. Again, sounds stupid. People make fun of you. Do it. It's very fun. It gets everybody involved. Haters are going to hate. Fuck them. So yeah.
That's a Taylor Swift song.
Yep. So yeah, that's what we do. I'm very pumped. Obviously, I'm animated. Going in 2 weeks. Cannot wait.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's a good time. Anyways, Bay Hill Week, Arnold Palmer Invitational.
Mm-hmm.
R.I.P. to the King.
R.I.P.
The GOAT. It's going to be emotional.
I agree. We tweeted out from the Foreplay account at ForePlayPod on Twitter. We tweeted out a video, and you just see it, and you get a little emotional.
You get emotional.
They just unveiled a statue there of him, which looks amazing.
It does look great. It's huge, which I like.
It's huge. I forget how much they said it weighed, but it weighed more than I thought it was going to.
Weighed a lot of
pounds.
Yep, tons of
so
pounds.
many pounds.
So yeah, it's gonna be a good week. I like this course a lot. It's also Bay Hill has been on the radar because it was just always one of the tournaments that Tiger played in.
Yep.
Right. So I feel like every one of those is basically on your radar.
He put them on everyone's radar. Even
right.
when he's not playing in them, it's just like, oh, Bay Hill, that's where Tiger did some awesome stuff.
Exactly. So it's a tournament you look forward to every year, but this year people have been taking some heat for not showing up.
There's a little bit of controversy because it is, the first one since Arnie died. And yeah, some of the guys, I've just got a list of guys here who are not playing, and I think they've been taking some heat for not doing it. We've got Dustin Johnson, Jordan Spieth, Phil Mickelson, Adam Scott, and Justin Thomas are not playing this week. Justin Thomas says he has one of his college teammates and best friends are getting married that weekend. So, I mean, that's fine. I don't know. Which way do you go with this?
It's tough because I pretty much never want to shit on people for their scheduling decisions.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's really tough. These guys play a ton. They're on the road. They're traveling. Everybody, and that's cliche. Everybody always talks about it, but it's true. It wears on you. Now, they make so much money that they don't have to play every week. So I don't blame them for that. That's fine. They've done well. We live in a capitalist society. They figured out a way to make a ton of money and not have to go play every weekend. They have their own reasons, et cetera, et cetera. It's not like these guys have not honored or paid tribute to Arnie by just not going to the tournament.
Yeah, they're not like spitting in his face.
Not
That's
even
not what that
close.
is. I mean, they all respect Arnie, clearly. It does kind of stink that you're not getting the world number one who's not there. It'd be good to see Spieth there. I mean, I understand everything you're saying. I just wish they would all show up. Everybody, no matter how tired you are, no matter how much money you already made, everybody, Arnie just passed away this last year. Everybody go to the tournament, but I totally understand the scheduling thing.
There's a significant concern in the golf world that Bay Hill, the Arnold Palmer Invitational, is going to fade, similar to the Byron Nelson and all of that. Now that Arnie's passed, guys aren't going to show up. There's also a narrative that there's a decent amount of players that don't love the venue. They don't love the course.
Mm-hmm.
And so those types of things are going to be tough to overcome. I don't think it really surprises a lot of people that certain names aren't showing up. And like I said, I never shit on anybody for their scheduling decisions. They do whatever they want to be in top form for the events that they think matter the most. Those are the majors, the WGCs, all of that. So it's
and you
really
still
hard.
got 5 of the top 9 players
You
in
still
the
got
world.
big names
Yeah,
there.
I mean,
Rory, J-Day.
J-Day, Hideki, Stenson, Ricky, Justin Rose, Danny Wilt, Bubba Watson, Brent Snedeker. It's a good list. There are some glaring non-attendees.
Speaking of Stenson, we're going to get to our anonymous DM sources picks for the week. I got to be honest, how long do we ride out Capfather?
He had a tough week.
He had a bad week. Pick
Pick
JT. JT MC hammered it, miscut. Can't do that. He did have Brian, who was a long shot.
It's almost unfair because he was so hot when we started doing this.
Oh, it's very unfair, but it's a tough game. If you're going to play it, here's why I'm pissed, is because I was betting very minimal amounts when he was winning, and then I went ham, and I've lost all my money. Because I was pissed at myself for not betting enough and profiting enough off of the hot hand, the anonymous DM source. So then I started betting a shit ton, and now people are missing
that's
cuts and
just
shit.
that's just the story of gambling in a nutshell, right there.
Totally, and I've been, this is going to turn into a cliche gambler's discussion
No, but
about how sad I am about losing money.
right. I think we ride Catfather for a couple more weeks, see if he can turn it around. I think we owe him that. We owe him that.
Capfather texts me, he says, my API picks are official. I like Stenson this week at 9-1. He was hitting the ball well last weekend. Just burned a couple edges on some long putts. Bay Hill greens are a little easier than Innisbrook, so the ones he just missed last weekend should go in this weekend. That's an interesting prediction. That his putts are just going to go in now because they're at a different course. We'll see how that plays out for anonymous DM source Capfather. I also fucking love Tommy Fleetwood at 40-1. Capfather always sneaks in at 40-1, which I like. He says, I don't often absolutely love long shots. It's not true. You do this every week because they are so hard to pick, but this guy is nails. Looked him up on the Euro Tour, and he's having a good start. Finished second at WGC in his only PGA event. His ball striking is ridiculous, and he has the swagger it takes to be a big-time player. I'm all in on Fleetwood. So a lot of talk there about Fleetwood. Those are Capfather's picks. What do you think about those, Trent? You got any thoughts?
Those are all fine and good. You know who's going to be playing this weekend
Who's that?
for the first time in a decade?
Oh, I do know.
John Daly.
JD.
JD's coming back.
JD.
Back on a sponsor invite.
One of my favorite things about JD, I think it was 1998 on the 6th hole at Bay Hill, which is that par 5 that wraps around like a half moon.
Yeah.
He made an 18. Literally an 18.
Doesn't matter what happens. If John Daly's shown up, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. JD in the field. You got to like that. Getting a little, what is it, some sort of sponsored exemption
Some
or something?
some sort of sponsored exemption. He says always been one of his favorite events. He says he can't believe it's been 10 years. I miss this place. Wished I could play it a lot more. I'm jacked up for John Daly to be in any tournament, but especially I'm just pumped.
There's a lot of water around those parts for him to throw a little, maybe a club into the water,
That's
something
what I was
like that.
thinking.
Yeah, I'd love to see something.
I just want him to make the cut. Just give me Johnny Weekend.
Johnny Weekend's nice.
It's just fun to have him there.
Yeah. So yeah, that should be a good weekend. Like I said, it's going to be emotional. We're going to be drinking Arnold Palmers
Of course.
naturally.
In
If you're
honor of the king.
If you're not, you're an asshole. I think that's it for the show, right?
I think so too. I think we did good here.
R.I.P. to the king. Let's have a good week. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
I hit it hard, man. So far.